So we're here with Dr. Miller, Director of Student Health Services, and we're here to ask her a couple of questions about what is physical wellness and how it affects Colgate University and the student body in general. So as the Director of Student Health Services and a doctor, of course, what does physical wellness mean to you? What does being physically healthy mean to you?
It's a great question, and I think when most people think about wellness, the first thing they think of is physical wellness. So they think of that person out running or riding a bike or going ahead and doing push-ups and doing whatever it is they can to keep their body physically fit. And of course that is part of wellness. As you well know, there are other aspects to wellness that have to do with the mind, with the soul, with plans for the future, with goals, etc. But indeed, when you think of physical wellness, you're trying to come up with a way to have your body as fit as possible for all the things that you might want to go ahead and do. But you also want to make sure that your body is fit so that your mind is able to go ahead and function well.
So you mentioned the flu. Other than the flu, what are the other most common problems that you see, not only at Colgate, but in general at college campuses?
With teenagers and young adults, when they're on a college campus or at home, the most common problem is going to be things, as we say, from the neck up. Pink eye, ear infections, runny nose, sore throat, whether it's strep or a regular cold, swollen glands, just sort of, as we say, sinus congestion, respiratory problems, most of which are due to viruses. How do you take care of your entire body? There's just a certain amount we can see from the outside, but there's an awful lot that's going on inside. But it really is how somebody feels. No matter what your weight is, if you're feeling weak, no matter what your weight is, if you're feeling logy, no matter what your weight is, if you can't go ahead and walk at a healthy pace for a mile or two, those are reasons to go ahead and wonder why you can't go ahead and do that. People should be able to go ahead and walk at a pace where they can have a conversation with somebody without being too breathy, and still be able to go ahead and probably walk for about a mile in about 20 minutes.
When a student comes in, is it usually a problem that is just starting, or is it usually advanced? How do students...
Again, another great question. We have the advantage here that the Student Health Center, we're open 7 days a week. We also are available to talk with somebody at any time, 24/7. And most of our students are pretty intense, and they're intense about all parts of their life. They're intense about their academics, certainly much of the time, if not all of the time. They're intense about their outside activities. They really want to make the most of their Colgate career, and there are so many things that they can do while they're here that they want to be out there sometimes from dawn to dusk. They don't have the same sort of schedule here that they may have had at home, and they don't have a parent or a grandparent that can go ahead and remind them, slow down, go ahead and get some more rest. They don't have a parent or a grandparent who's making food choices for them, and so they may or may not be making as good food choices as they otherwise would go ahead and make. We know that some of our students take that role of food purchase and food preparation very seriously. There are some healthy foods that may be a little bit more expensive than less healthy foods. We do have a dietitian who comes to campus once a month and is available to go ahead and meet with student groups, whether it's a team or whether it's an apartment complex or whether it's a townhouse complex, if they want to go ahead and talk with her about healthy food choices on a limited budget. So we emphasize the fact that for both men and women, if they wanted to come on in and talk about sexuality issues, about experiences they may have had, about plans that they have to think about becoming sexually active, or if somebody might need to have testing done, or may need to know ways that they can protect themselves. Those are things that we also spend a lot of time doing here. My radio show, and I thank you for mentioning it, it's on Sunday nights on WRCU from 7 to 8 p.m. It's called What's Up, Doc? And the show usually starts with my talking about some things that have been in the news during the past week about health or wellness related items. And then I typically have one or more guests, could be students, faculty, staff, people from the community, where we talk about a specific topic. The rest of the semester we don't have entirely planned out as yet, but if anybody has any suggestions for topics that they want to be discussed, they can just go ahead and get in touch with me and we'll make it happen.
Well, so all I have left to say is thank you for granting us this interview, and we really appreciate it.
Great, I appreciate your coming down and talking to me.